Alrighty, so we're back. It's been a few days, and I should note that the reason why it's been a few days between my last video and this one, and the reason why I'm just now uploading up my second part of that little sculpt video is because I was trying to do a 3D print of my stuff, and then let it try to do its stuff while I rendered it. With that, let's get to the reveal of the one that I did get to successfully get to print. And I'm going to talk about failures and all the good things. This guy, which is that guy right over there. This one actually successfully printed. Had a few printing issues from using the material that I used. It was an ABS material, so I knew that there was going to be some issues, especially since I'm using the last of my roll just for a test print. So, getting this guy off, I sort of snapped that off using a little bit too much pressure. My first print was a complete failure. It was actually the one from the original sculpt video, and the material just did not adhere, and it got about a third of the way in, which was about 10 hours in, because it was a simpler, like I was experimenting with like a little bit of a coarser print setting, but the supports did not hold, and it split, and then just caused a huge failure. So, had a failure, had a success, and then because I wanted to stress this guy out, I did not do a few things. With my experience with ABS from the few times that I did it before I got this printer, it needs to have an enclosure. It needs to have proper temperature ventilation, stuff like that. And my longest print time was usually around 6 hours. So it was nothing very big. This guy, about 32 hours. And so to this week, it was between 100. It was around the highs of around 100 to 103. And so in my office here, between that and then dropping down to the 70s at nighttime, and then having an AC in here, I wanted to see how much stress this thing could get. And so, if I can get this camera to focus, let me see here. Yeah, there's a couple right here. Come on, focus on not on me. Focus on my hand. Alright. So you can start to see some of these little... There it is. Right there. This whole thing was starting to get some stress cracks from... You can tell where this one started printing in about 14 hours later, because I started this at night. And then in the morning, this was about midday that day. And then 24 hours, there's another big stress crack. That's the height of the hour of the day. That's the height of the hour of the day. Like the height of the temperature of the days. These two big guys. So I wanted to stress it out just so I can see if I could fix it post-production with a 3D printing pen. Nothing special with this pen. I've used it for years now, doing all sorts of anything I can think of. So nothing new on that front, but I did want to see if I could patch in with that filament and then start to grind it down, and I can start to do it right there. You see how I'm in the process of getting this guy to come on. Don't focus it on me. There you go. You can start to see how right here how I'm grinding it down a little bit, trying to get it to look good. Here's another patch. So they're smooth to the touch. The actual print itself was a 0.1 layer print. So it was a very fine print. And it's got a smooth texture to it. I'm not seeing too many inclusions. I'm not seeing too many things. I did put the seam along here, because this was a little bit of a textured area here. So I wanted to make sure that the seam was in a place where if I ground it down, it was not going to be like right here or in the middle of a side body area. It was something that had some lumpiness that I could work with. So it went up the inside of here, went down all the way up here. I did use a 10% fill on this, so it's not heavy. It probably used about a third of my roll, and it's almost all gone. So I'm happy that I finished it off with this. This being a good test. I'll probably go over a video of some of my setup on this, how I slice this, things like that. Now, on to the fun part. I have about 31 hours of time-lapse video that I have to compile for this, because I did not think ahead and set it up for time-lapse. I thought, hey, I'm going to stream the fact that I'm recording this, and then I'll take that video and shorten it down. So here's the problem with that. I've crashed 3 of my video recording software just trying to edit that video down to from 31 hours down to something less than an hour, in a cohesive way. So if you all have any sort of suggestion as to what sort of software I could use to shorten that down without killing my stuff, I'd like to hear about it, because I'll give it a try any day of the week. Specifically something that's not iOS based, because it's not a cell phone thing that I'm doing, it's a PC thing. But I'll figure it out one of these days. If you don't want to wait for the time lapse and you just want to watch a 3D print go around and watch it just do its thing, I have it set up on the Twitch. All my saved videos are on the Twitch that I'm going to link down below. So take that as you will. You can go on there, listen to some lo-fi chill music while a printer goes around and around for 31 some odd hours ish. A couple split breaks where I lost, where my stream stopped, or I paused it so I could do some work and things like that. So not much more to say about that. I'll try to get some more sculpts this weekend. I'm going to do some set up my printer, because the Amazon gods have delivered my PLA gray. So I'll be able to finish off, do the original sculpture in a PLA, which is a better and easier to use filament. So I should have a cleaner thing. And I'm gonna try to find an actual time-lapse software for that. And then we'll discuss that one, the 2 different prints, because now I'll have an ABS print and a PLA print, so I can compare those 2. We can compare the sculptures. So there it is. As for the artwork side, this stuff came out fantastic right here. This was very simple, and there was not a lot of texture. I kept it sort of smooth, but it has that rippling, like almost bio-organic looking skin movement to it that I wanted to keep, without being too Geigerish or too sci-fi-ish. So this is fantastic. I sort of like this little ridge that I put in here, because it gives it sort of like that like tongue look to it. And I definitely like the interaction of these 2 shapes here. Whereas this one's got like that spinal ridge here. It's much bigger with that almost tongue-looking shape. And this one being a little bit more, not only smaller, but it's got some little ridges here. And it's a much smoother inside shape. It's still got a little bit of like that tongue ridge type thing going on, but it's kind of nice. And I love this. I love how this print right here. This was just a simple orb, but this came out perfectly smooth. So I'm happy as heck with this print right there. See that? There's the very top of it, and you can see the top spiral coming all the way down. I love this printer. So I picked it up for a steal, and I'm glad I picked this one up, because I knew there was going to be less issues than I would have if I got like a Creality or something like that. So I'll probably go into a video and what this printer actually is too. It's not your average brand. So I'll say that. So other than that, on to my next video, If you guys have any questions, comments, things like that, and suggestions for our video software that I could probably compile all that stuff down without killing the software, that'd be fantastic. More later.